Hi, I'm Max Keiser. This is the Keiser Report. The global insurrection against banker occupation. The fuse has been lit. We haven't seen yet any major kabooms yet. Stacey Herbert, talk to me.
Max, and we're seeing, as part of this global insurrection, finally, the Irish apparently are waking up. Growing anti-tax movement shows Irish stoicism wearing thin. So this is from the New York Times, and they're saying that the Irish have been famously very quiet during all this austerity in order to pay off the Anglo-Irish bondholders, the unsecured Anglo-Irish bondholders. But they're saying now, urged on by promoters of a tax boycott, fully 85% of Irish homeowners have yet to pay a $130 property tax that is due March 31st. The latest official figures show that just 225,000 property owners out of 1.6 million have paid a total of $20 million, well short of the more than $200 million the government was planning to raise to help support public services.
Well, this is getting interesting. We've seen a lot of uprisings in Athens, for example, but there was no real success in pushing back the technocrats and the bankers from destroying that country and selling the assets off to private speculators. The same private speculators are in Ireland attempting to seize control of the assets. The people are gathering. The people, it appears, Stacey Herbert, this could be the first movement, the first country to smash the bankers in the face. Occupy Wall Street failed. Athens failed. We need a winner. Ireland could be it.
And the article does note that it's perhaps most significant is the coincidence, which I don't think is a coincidence, but they say it is, that on the same day the household tax is due, Irish taxpayers will have to pay $4 billion to make good on some of the monumental debts run up by the failed Anglo-Irish bank. The household tax is also the prelude to a much bigger property tax that is being demanded next year by the so-called Troika of lenders, the European Union, the IMF, and the European Central Bank, under the terms of Ireland's bailout deal.
Well, it had to happen. It had to happen that on one given day, a payment to Anglo-Irish would coincide with some tax obligation, and the people simply are throwing up. They're vomiting in their mind. They can't accept this. Are they going to be the first country to throw a major banking troika under the bus?
One of the peasants, as some of them are calling themselves, is quoted as saying, "I had never heard of bondholders or speculators or billions of euros in debts, but I know all about them now. I also believe the government is lying to me when it says it will be used for local services. And that's one thing everyone I've met agrees on, whether they've paid this or not." So they know that the taxes that they are paying, it's now taxation without representation. They know that it's just a siphon to transfer wealth to an outside body of bankers.
Right. This is what's going on all over the world. The wealth is being transferred to the bankers. But here in Ireland, you've got this fascinating concurrence, these two events happening simultaneously. So the public simply knows now. They can't pretend as if they don't know. This is just taking money out of their pocket and giving it to the Sean Fitzpatrick gulag state of casino incompetence, and they're choking on it.
Well, I want to point out that the word boycott entered the English language during the Irish Land War and is derived from the name of Captain Charles Boycott, the land agent of an absentee landlord, Lord Erne, who was subject to social ostracism organized by the Irish Land League in 1880. So, you know, I want to point out there that, first of all, it was an absentee landlord, which is what the EU, the IMF, the ECB, Goldman Sachs, and all the banks that are the unsecured bondholders of Anglo-Irish. This is the same exact situation. And I also want to say that social ostracism is something that was presented here on the Keiser Report by Luc Saucier, a French lawyer, who was presenting this to the French Parliament, saying that we should start using social ostracism to get people to turn their backs on bankers and see them as social pariahs. And it worked in the case of this Charles Boycott.
Right. Well, so when Charles Boycott went into town to go to the bakery or go to the butcher, no one would talk to him, no one would deal with him. And then, if I remember my Irish history, they needed 1,000 coppers to protect these orange folks from tilling the land, and of course the economics of that. It's like, J.P. Morgan had to hire a bunch of cops so that Jamie Dimon could, go in and out of his limousine safely.
Well, I think it's also the two Chucks, you can say, because this boycott, Chuck boycott, Charles boycott, meets Charles Ponzi. Now, a lot of the reason for the need for the boycott is because we're paying off the Ponzi scheme operators. And who is the top of it but Enda Kenny, the Prime Minister of Ireland? And his government was saying about this boycott, he said, the Irish people are law-abiding citizens and will pay the charge before March 31st. We are ready to cope with a late surge. Irish people always tend to leave it to the last minute to pay their bills.
Well, he's clueless. And he's in Washington this week with Obama and his paymasters over there on Wall Street.
Obama piles on the praise as endemania takes hold. So as we were saying before, Max, there are absentee landlords, in this case the New York banks, the Wall Street banks, the London banks. And here he is in America being praised while the Irish citizens themselves are boycotting. Obama is there encouraging endemania, as they call it, okay? When Enda Kenny met Barack Obama in the Oval Office for the second time in as many years yesterday, the U.S. president showered Ireland and its leader with praise. He said the Taoiseach has done extraordinary work during a difficult time, Mr. Obama said. I express my confidence in his government's ability to get Ireland moving again. And Mr. Kenny himself, there in America, said he discussed the upcoming referendum on the EU's fiscal compact with Mr. Obama, saying, we expect the Irish people, in their pragmatism and understanding of what the future holds, to vote strongly in favor of the treaty. But so here you have on two occasions, Max, you have Enda Kenny speaking to a foreign leader saying, my people are going to do whatever I say. They are going to submit to the foreign landowners, the landlords over in Europe. And he's telling them to the face, to the New York Times, saying they're going to pay their taxes because we need to pay Anglo-Irish. And these people, my peasants, will do what I say. Now, doesn't this guy look like Chucky? He looks like that mad murdering little puppet.
Chucky, the killer puppet clown? That's Edna Kenny? Oh my God, I see Chuck Ponzi, Chuck Boycott, Chuck Schwab, Charles Schwab, don't forget him. Oh my God, this world's being invaded by mad Chuckies.
How about Chuck Corzine, Max, because that was another praised by Obama as well. A Corzine rule for funds. New proposal would require futures firm principals to sign off on transfers. Exchange operators and a futures industry regulator are working on new rules that would restrict what brokerage firms can do with customer money in the wake of MF Global Holdings' bankruptcy last year. Max, you were a broker. Is it already against the law what Chuck Corzine did?
Of course, yeah. I mean, this is what I've been saying all along. This is the mantra of the brokerage industry, is that we never break the law. We only encounter circumstances where the law is not adequate, and therefore we ask that you either rewrite that law or write new laws. We never break the law. There is no law. There is no law. You don't. If someone tries to prosecute based on a law, you just need to write new laws. I mean, that's what we've been saying all along. There is no law that applies to a Corzine. That's why they believe they're doing God's work. They believe they're above the law. They believe they have a God complex because no law applies to them.
Well, let's look at another banker in the headline. Little did I know this guy was a broker. U.S. soldier accused of gunning down 16 Afghans as a con man who feds say bilked elderly couple out of $1 million. So the U.S. soldier who now claims to have no memory of slaughtering 16 Afghans? Where did he learn that? Oh, doesn't Lloyd Blankfein and don't Jamie Dimons of the world, don't they say they have no memory of slaughtering the global economy? Well, he's a smooth talker who defrauded an elderly Ohio couple out of their savings, according to FINRA. Staff Sergeant Robert Bales was previously a stockbroker from 1996 to 2000, and he enlisted in the Army shortly after federal financial regulators found he engaged in fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, churning, unauthorized trading, and unsuitable investments.
The perfect training to become a slaughtering, out-of-control maniac with a gun in Afghanistan. That's what being a broker is all about, slaughtering people. You know, we don't call forgetfulness. There's a term in the industry, it's called selective amnesia. So you want to be able to selectively amnesia about certain things that would somehow impact your bottom line. The stuff that gives you more money, of course, you remember in full detail. I can tell you trades I've done 20 years ago in great detail, exact prices, who the counterparty was, how much we made. But the ones that were insider trading, I have selective amnesia. I don't remember.
Well, that's been used by the elite over and over. And now neighbors said Bales was patriotic but angry over being passed over for promotion.
His name is Bales? Like Christian Bale, who played American Psycho?
Exactly, the same spelling of it.
Oh, remember that scene in American Psycho where they're comparing business cards. One was eggshell, one was off-white, one had the raised lettering. And then the American Psycho goes home with an axe and kills one of his co-workers. I mean, the same thing, whether it's murdering Marines in the field or brokers on Wall Street. Slaughter, kill, maim, make money. It's all the same.
Well, okay, finally, speaking of Chucky, he has those raised eyebrows. Well, some bankers were raising eyebrows in the news. Green Mountain option bets raise eyebrows. A heavy burst of bearish option action in Green Mountain coffee roasters and the hours before Starbucks announced plans to launch a single cup coffee and espresso brewer has raised eyebrows among some option market participants. Options bets on a big move up in Starbucks shares and on a sharp drop in Green Mountain stock preceded the news. The level of aggressiveness that traders early on Thursday came for Green Mountain March downside puts was very suspicious, said Alan Thompson, options market maker at Timber Hill, a division of Interactive Brokers Group. It raised our eyebrows. Whoever made these illegal bets, which the SEC has not yet decided to look into, but whoever made these bets made 337% on their insider trading information in 1 week. Now, does that cause any harm to the community at large, Max? Because a lot of people think this is a victimless crime. They don't see, for example, they see it like when Sergeant Bales was defrauding this couple. They see it almost as a victimless crime. But when you're in Afghanistan and you blow apart 16 people and there's corpses and burnt carcasses all over the place, they say, okay, that's caused damage and victims. But in this case, they think there's no victim in this options insider trading.
Well, the victim is the economy itself because it gets burnt out when you have so many insider traders operating simultaneously and you burn out essentially the collateral of the economy with any growth potential of the economy. So you have to go into war zones increasingly more and more to feed the bottom of the Ponzi scheme. So a lot of people die. I mean, 1 million Iraqis, dead to fund Lloyd Blankfein's Ponzi scheme. Let's be honest about it. And this guy, this Marine, wherever he is, Afghanistan, let's kill some civilians to feed the Ponzi scheme. Whether it's defrauding couples out of their life savings or killing some kids in their, bed at dawn, it's all the same. Oh, what had happened? Oh, I've got selective amnesia. I don't remember that Green Mountain coffee trade that I made 300% in a week on. I can't remember. I've got selective amnesia. Oh, the yacht that I bought 3 years ago? Yes, I paid $47,347.16. It comes with this spec and that spec, and I can remember things brilliantly. But about the crimes I committed, I forgot. All right, Stacey Herbert, thanks so much for being on the Keiser Report.
Thank you, Max.
Much more coming your way, so stay right there.